welcome to Podcast vs. Play, episode 209. I'm one of your hosts, Cal, and as always, I'm joined by a man who used to date a girl who loved to be covered in cheese. She was a cracker. Who was a delivery driver for Mr. Kipling and had to do an emergency stop. Luckily, the lorry had exceedingly good brakes.
Wow. That's so many of the people that would listen to this that would never understand that joke.
It's only like 2% of our viewership from the UK. It's only bloody Mr. Kipling himself, Dano. You all right?
Hello. I'm very good. We're a week away from Christmas, Callum.
We
if
are.
you're interested and excited about such things. Which
A week tomorrow is Christmas Eve, would you believe?
I mean, you're not wrong, mate.
Yeah. I'm quite excited
I'm going to
this
finish early from work. That's about as excited as I think I'm going to get. Although I'm probably going to go to my friends, so that's going to be quite good, I reckon.
I got lots of stuff planned. I've got a pantomime on Saturday. I'm going ice skating. Snow White. I think it's like the rock and roll pantos. It better be, because they are quite funny. But yeah, I got a pantomime. Well, I've got Spider-Man tomorrow, and I got a pantomime on Saturday. Then I've got ice skating on Sunday, and then Christmas Eve the following Friday, and then it's Christmas, and I'm going to do nothing. And I can't wait.
I don't think Logan's going to let you just do nothing.
No, I mean, like, I'm not leaving the house doing that.
I've never been invited around for Christmas, I'll point that out.
I mean, you can come this year if you want.
My best friend, that lad right there, never invited me around for Christmas, not once.
I'm pretty sure I have.
Have you bollocks? I mean, I still wouldn't have gone, but have you bollocks?
I would like to point out as well, before I am fingered as the evil best friend, Dan hates Christmas.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. That's not the point, though. The point is that I'd still like to ask so I could turn it down.
All right, next year.
And then I'll whinge about, why do you keep asking me? You know I'm not going to travel all the way down.
I'm going to put schedule a reminder for next year.
That's great, because I'm not going to remember this at this point. I'm like, what the fuck are you on about? Why are you asking me to Christmas all of a sudden, you weirdo?
See, I mean, to be honest, up until we had Logan, I wasn't a big... I was a proper Grinch.
I think, at a certain point of a certain person, it's just, unless you've got kids around or a family, with young kids maybe, there's nothing in it for you anymore.
Nah. It's
because you're like, oh, another thing that I can't use, or it's a one-use thing. Oh, I'd rather have just had the money for rent and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, everything's just becomes depressing. There's a kid and you go, here's just a box of glitter. And they're like, incredible,
wow!
Best day of my life.
It's what it's for. It's for kids, isn't it? So for me, it's an excuse to just get something like this new monitor. This was my Christmas present to myself. Which I had.
That's been my excuse as well for the last couple of months as well. Like, yeah, Christmas is coming up. Sure, I'll just spend more money than I absolutely should have done.
I think I said it to you anyway, but I've said it to Zoe. Dan spends a lot of money. Well, I don't want to talk to you in a third, as if you're not here. But you spend a lot of money on other people, and very little on yourself. I mean, you live in a box, and
this is my box, as you can see.
No, but I mean, like you obviously obviously he doesn't live in a box. He lives in a very nice apartment, but you pay for what you need to pay for.
But I'm decorating it appropriately for.
But no, you know what I mean. Though you pay everything, like bills are paid and all that stuff and everything else.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I'm a practical person. I don't really want for anything, and if
except
something
for
stops,
Christmas.
Apparently, yeah. Just so I can turn it down. That's the rule. But I won't buy a new thing. I'll buy a thing to replace a thing that's broken.
Yeah.
So I bought some wireless headphones, earbuds, because it was easier for us to record, because it'd be two separate audio tracks and it just makes things a bit easier. But I spent like 14 quid on that, something like that.
Yeah.
Like a year or so ago. And then the left one, it started to just it was just getting quieter and quieter and quieter, and it's just sort of like, okay, well, I can hear the traffic on this side, and I'm hearing Led Zeppelin or whatever on this side, so this isn't going to work. So I bought these, which are some new. Well, I say new. I think they're like XM0003, something like that. Anyway, but they were like, you know, headphones of the year 2 years ago, say. Yeah. And like the most up to date version of it came out this year, and they're like 250 quid. And that's. I'm going to use these walking to work, at work, walking home from work, whilst we're recording, and going to the gym. Yeah. There's not much time outside of this, and you can use them to connect to the Switch as well. They're going to be used all the time. Yeah. Even with all of that use, I can't justify that amount of money. That's mental.
£250 a lot for headphones.
It really is, right? Because I mean, how much more could I use them? I mean, yeah, sure, I'm sure they sound better and whatever, but a bit daft. But they were about 100 quid or something off Amazon, and I was just like, well, that is a lot, but I will use them a lot, and it is replacing something else that's broken, and you know, that's always my justification for things. Yeah. You know, shoes are dodgy. I'll get some new shoes.
I'll get some new headphones.
any excuse, I'll just go and buy headphones. But it's always to replace the thing. Yeah. Whereas the last couple of months, mate, I've just gone mental. I totally get now why people get into crippling debt by being a shopaholic. I get it. Like, I'm just sort of like, I'm wandering through the Trafford Centre. Bad call, by the way.
Example in point.
What?
I'm getting a new PC. I quite fancy a new PC. You don't need one. Yeah, but...
That's true. I mean, but you're more of a, you know, I want to keep ahead of the curve sort of thing. So it's not a necessity necessarily, but it's still, there's a practical purpose for it, which, again, that's fine. If something's going to be used constantly,
it's only affordable
it's worth
stuff
the
as
cost.
Well. If I've got a remortgage,
paying 83 quid for a sandwich, that's stupid. You don't want to do that. You're going to piss it up the wall, literally. But you know, I've stopped smoking. I'm spending a lot in, like, you know, trainer, and you know, and that is quite expensive, and I don't really want to do that. But it's not also it's not a long-term thing. You know, it's only for a short amount of time.
It's also not. You go, oh, I've just spent 700 quid on what? I don't even know. Like, it's something practical. Like, there's a benefit to doing it, and it's a good benefit. It's a healthy benefit. And I've known you for a very long time, Dan. I don't think if you had a trainer, you'd still be going to the gym.
Do you reckon?
Yeah. I mean, we've been down this road before, which is the reason you got a trainer. I think, like,
maybe you're right. Yeah.
That's not. I say it's not a knock. I'm exactly the same. Like, I stopped going as soon as my friend went back to the army. I stopped going. It's like, I've got no one to threaten me anymore, so I've got no need to. Plus, you know, there's other things factor into it, like having a kid and everything else.
You got me fat.
Yeah. I mean, probably, but but no, it's more of a you've got a reason. Like, there's always a reason to get healthy, even no matter how healthy or unhealthy you are. There's always a reason to do it, and that is just to hopefully live longer and just have a better.
I'm not too fussed about that.
No, I don't necessarily mean like Dan's goal is to live to 200, but I mean, like, it's more like
I can't think of anything worse. Well, it's like my trainer's got a very, like, I think he's quite good at sort of sussing out what's like a good kind of like inspirational driving force for people.
Does he dress up as Star Trek characters?
No, although, you know, if you get shredded and then go in a uniform, you'll look better than every nerd at the next convention, I'll tell you that much. But his angle is that he comes at it from like, oh, you know, well, if there was a zombie apocalypse, you know, you're in good shape and you can lift yourself up, like, over it. Because, like, there's a couple of things. Like, I really quite like going to the gym. There's quite a few things like deadlifting and assisting when you sort of like push this sort of like really heavy thing across the floor. It's silly stuff like that, but it's like, oh, I kind of feel like jacked after that. That was good. And then there's other things like lunges. I could bin them off forever and never do another one again. I'd be happy with that. But there's this other thing where it's like a chin up thing, basically. And it's because, one, I'm not used to it. Two, I've never done it before. So those sort of muscles just don't exist yet. And the rhythm and the muscle memory and all that sort of stuff, I haven't got any of that. So they fucking suck. But when I'm there, just like, oh God. And he's just like, yeah, but imagine it, you know, you've, like Nathan Drake style, sort of like slipped off a cliff. And then you need to pull yourself back up, and I'm just like, now you're talking my language.
Now you're looking around like,
that's a good incentive for me to.
There's a yellow bar.
I mean, I've looked at the ventilation system a few times. I'm like, maybe I could just sort of scramble up the wall and maybe have a go at it. Yeah, maybe.
It's hard. To be fair, it's really hard to pull up from the front. It's easier to do it from the back. And I've never understood why.
I've not done. Yeah, I don't think I've done that actually. Like this thing, it's like an assisted, so it's got like a pad, and then it's like this, like weight. It's like a counterweight.
Yeah.
And then the less weight there is, the more you're doing and pulling up and stuff. So like that's why I'm still sort of like quite far down. But there's like some of the fucking dudes that go in there, like it's just sort of like you've been doing that for years, clearly, not you.
No.
But they're sort of just like on the like the there's like the sort of the climbing bars sort of things, but it's like a multi-purpose whatever, and they're just sort of like hanging from their arms, and they're like sort of like flipping around like through their arms, like hanging. I'm just like, sorry, you should be in the circus, mate, not in my gym. What are you doing? Like some of them, they are mental, like shit they can do, and it's just I want to just give them a little round of applause if it wouldn't be so bloody awful.
You don't.
Oh, it's because this episode of Podcast vs. Player is supposed to
No,
protein
no,
bite.
it's not. No, it's not.
No, it's not, but they are fucking delicious.
Hey,
though,
we
so
haven't
if
got a
anyone's
sponsor this
interested.
week, Dan.
Yes, we have. It's protein bites.
So
from
no,
Maxim Muscle.
so take your pick. Click the like button if you want blueberry. Click the subscribe button if you want CD keys. Dan.
Just do both, sure.
Yeah, for like Christmas Bonanza. I'm just going to throw everyone in there. Tell you what, Releno. I had to do a thing for them the other day, so they could be the sponsor of this week's episode. And there'll be some details going across now.
Special shout out for Galaxy of Gamers.
Or GOG.
GOG. Because, Callum, as we may have previously mentioned, they released quite a few old school Activision Star Trek games. A few months ago, there was Elite Force and Bridge Commander and Away Team, some of my favourite old time Star Trek
Oasis.
No.
The Mancunian Star Trek.
I had Armada 1 from something, and I can't remember where it's from. It's fine, but it's just, I always remember 2, and I've got the box for 2 over there somewhere. And one, this CD doesn't have a drive. This PC doesn't have a CD drive, so I couldn't play it anyway. 2, even when you do, because it is so old, it sort of gets installed and it's like, what the fuck? Like it cannot function. But GOG had like a waiting list sort of thing of just like, oh, these things at some point we're gonna put them up. And a couple of days ago, I got an email saying, oh, Armada 2, it's been released today. And I was like, amazing, legends. They're all like, I think they're selling them all for like £8.50 or something, which
that's still quite expensive.
Arguably you could say is quite expensive for these games that are at least 20 years old by this point. But my argument would be is that the only people who are going to buy them are people that can't play them anymore because of discs or
at least?
Availability. That's what you're paying for in essence. That these things will run, and all of them that I bought have all run perfectly on this big old monitor that I've got. So fair play to them for that. But Callum, when I bought it and then I installed it, it didn't work. And I was just like, are you kidding me? I've waited for like 20 years to be able to play this again. And it would come up with a thing at the start, like the loading box. Remember when it used to do that? It'd be like a little box that would load up and then the game would launch afterwards. It would get as far as that, and then the game itself would just not respond anymore. You'd have to task manager close it. So, as I did with Bridge Commander, because they advertised that there was no voice functionality, not advertised anymore, Callum, because...
Got it sorted.
I got it sorted, mate. But emailed them again. It was just like,
They're just like, this guy, fucking hell.
I love the fact that you put it on there. Thank you. But it's not loading, and I don't know if that's my it's definitely my fault. But what can I do to fix it? Is it the monitor? Is it the PC? Is it whatever? Yeah, that's the thing.
I assume you buy it. It goes, thanks. Download it. Where do you want to install it? Here. Installed.
Yep.
Click play to launch. Launch. Didn't work. I don't understand how you could do anything wrong.
Well, no, I mean more in the sense of rather than saying, "Oh, this is a disaster. I want my money back," or whatever. It's like, "Oh, I definitely want to play this. That's the reason I bought it. I just want to get it working." And there's a guy called Falran, I think his name was. So shout out to Falran, who's definitely going to watch this. Who came back with an email, not like an automated sort of like, "Oh, do you want a refund or whatever." It was like, I've tried to like recreate the thing, like the error that you're having. I'm not doing it. So here's like 6 different things. Like try each of these and see which ones actually get it to work, and then let me know which ones work. Presumably, because if anyone else has a similar problem, they can go, "Oh, here's this guy did this and it worked for him, so maybe that blah blah blah." And then I forgot to do it yesterday because I'm a dickhead. But today I got back, and all I did was in the GOG launcher, I just changed it to like windowed instead of full screen mode, because I think like the native program trying to load up on a screen this big didn't exist when this was made, so it's just freaked out. But I'd like dropped the hertz, like, so I dropped it from like 160 or 170 or whatever this is to like just 60, just to see if that took the edge off it. But that wasn't anything to do with it. It was purely just launching in full screen. But when you set it to windowed, it's still the full screen anyway. So I don't quite know how that's working, but whatever. Now it works, and I emailed him back, and I was just like, "Yeah, that's like whatever you said for that screen thing, that worked, and that's all I did. I reinstalled it, which I presume at this point wouldn't have made any difference. It's purely just changing that down." And emailed him back, and this is the email that I got from him 25 minutes ago, Callum. "Hello again, Dan. Personal like that. So happy to hear your good news." That sounded sarcastic when I just said that. I don't think he's being sarcastic.
Oh, lucky fucking you.
Oh, well, look at you.
Paying for a game and getting it to work. Do you think you are?
I'm glad you were able to solve the problem, and you'll finally be able to enjoy your game. Nice touch.
Yeah.
Like that. Would be very excited to hear what you think about the game itself if you ever wish to write a review about it. Yeah, I could turn my hand to a bit of review writing. Sure, why not? I've heard quite a lot of cool things about Armada 2. I've yet to try it myself, perhaps this coming weekend. Like, I won't go into the rest of it because it's just like, if you want to leave a review or here's other games or whatever. But that, to me, that is the sort of customer service that I think is the best form of customer service.
Definitely.
It's not someone coming back who's going, "Oh God, oh please, oh let me just do whatever you want." It's someone who's coming back and just like, "Oh, that sounds like..." But like coming back and saying, "Oh, that sounds like I've never played it, but I've actually probably going to, and what's it like," sort of thing. Yeah. That's a good level of interaction, because I'm not committed to respond to that.
Yeah.
Like I'm not forced into having to obligatory go, "Oh yeah, well, here's my gamer tag or whatever, add me or whatever." But it's also not just like a static stock response, which from some companies,
it's a much more personal way of doing it.
And it's a fact, because in my current job, that's how I am. I'm far more informal with people, because people are likely to respond, and they're likely to like you because they go, "Oh, you're right, pal," because they know that it's sort of like, "Good afternoon."
Give a fake name.
It is in Europe.
I will say,
thank you for that incredible joke from me. Thank you.
I will say though,
did that just go over your head?
No, I got it. Pal, NTC, yada yada yada. I will say though, GOG, do not trust Dan with reviews. He still owes me a review from about 9 years ago, and I'm still pretty positive you're the reason we lost our affiliations with Blog Critics.
Company closed down or whatever it was. Oh, Callum, breaking news. I've just had an email. Oh, it's just saying the ticket's sold.
Oh.
I was hoping to have another bit of conversation from Falcon.
I thought it might have been about your record tomorrow. Just by the way, we had it early. It's yours.
No, I'm not going to say what it is, just in case he's not going to listen to this. I'm not going to say it anyway. But I'm quite excited. I'm hoping that does turn up, because I think that will be a really good little gift. Also, you still haven't come back to me about what I'm getting for you and Zoe and Logan and everyone else.
I would like you to come to Christmas.
I can't now. No. I'm busy. Got plans.
God damn it. I'll hold out. What days are you free? I'll push Christmas back.
Funny enough, other than the bank holidays, I don't think I've got any time off over.
I actually started have this year. First time in 11 years I'm off at Christmas.
Really?
Anyway, Dan, you saw Spider-Man yesterday, and we can't talk about it because I'm not seeing it till tomorrow. So shut up.
All I'm going to say is it's spectacular and amazing. That's all I can say, and it's all I'm willing to say. We'll revisit this in probably the new year, I guess. I don't know if we're going to be.
No, we'll do it.
Another one.
We'll do one before Christmas, hopefully.
Well, this is the one before Christmas, mate. Christmas is next week.
Because maybe we'll do a spoiler cast for Spider-Man.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah, we'll try and work that. We'll try
see if
and
you
work
can get
something
Zoe
out.
on that.
That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking, Dan. Because obviously me and Zoe are going to see it tomorrow. Busy most of the weekend, as I've already said, but we'll squeeze in. I want to do a spoiler cast.
Cool.
We've done one for every other Spider-Man film. I think it's the only franchise we've kept up with.
Have we? Did we do one for?
We did one for Homecoming.
No Way Home.
We done one for Far From Home. I made the special Spider-Man bloody intro for it, you little bugger.
Let's just say I remember that.
Outrageous. Anyway, Dan, last week we had the we didn't, but we had the Game Awards, and there are a few standouts that happened. Obviously, Game of the Year. I'm sure this isn't brand new news to people. Obviously, this happened last week. But Game of the Year, we had Deathloop, It Takes Two, Metroid Dread, Psychonauts 2, Ratchet & Clank, Rift Apart, and Resident Evil Village. And It Takes Two took the gong, so to speak.
Maybe that's a bit. I know because I've talked to you about that one before. Because when it popped up on Game Pass, I said, "Oh, that's like it's just like a pure two-player co-op thing." You know, maybe that's one we could do some videos on. It seemed a bit unraveled, that kind of vibe to it, without knowing anything about it. By the way, the fact that it's just won Game of the Year over things like Psychonauts 2, which I played and is amazing, Resident Evil 8, which I haven't played but I know is amazing.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's real good. I honestly,
Ratchet & Clank, I don't know, but
Ratchet & Clank's real. I mean, I honestly, out of all of them, I haven't played Metroid Dread. I know
I have.
You recently purchased it.
I did. It is good, but I mean, I'm like 20 minutes into it.
I don't think there's any.
Compared to like Psychonauts, there's no comparison there.
I'd give it to Psychonauts 2, Ratchet & Clank, or Resident Evil Village. Any one of those I'd be more than happy with. I'm sure It Takes Two is a fantastic game, but
well, we'll soon see, won't we? We'll have to get in on this.
Is it Game of the Year? We don't know. Next category, Dan, is Best Game Direction. Pretty much same ones. Deathloop, It Takes Two, Returnal, Psychonauts 2, Ratchet & Clank, Rift Apart. Winner was Deathloop. And that was awarded for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. Now, I would have thought that would have gone to Psychonauts or Ratchet & Clank.
Well, I mean, Psychonauts it's kind of there's nothing really else like it.
That's what I mean. Ratchet & Clank's got all like the time warping and all that stuff. Returnal.
That's true, yeah. But what was it? Deathloop. Yeah, I haven't played it yet, but I'm holding off on it because I know that it's going to come to Game Pass at some point. Yeah. So there's no point in me buying it for 35 quid if I get it for free 6 months later.
I'm really annoyed because I was like, oh, I'll just get it for PS5. Look at it, just sat silently at the corner, crying and weeping,
not doing anything as usual.
I played the Matrix thing the other day. That was shite. But
seeing the Matrix next week as well.
You're not missing anything. It's literally just
I haven't seen the Matrix. Oh no, I watched it on YouTube. And I mean, I'm still a bit pissed off that it didn't come out on PC as well.
I say you're not missing anything. It's literally.
No, but again, I watched the video. And I was like, it looks incredible.
Oh yeah.
But there's not much to it other than the fact that it looks so good.
Yeah, it's just an on-rail shooter thing, and then a walkabout in a city, in a dead city. That's it.
If that's like the pre-alpha of what this game could look like and potentially be, but not an on-railsy sort of thing. Like if it's like a co-op driver shooter, running around the Matrix, beating people up and stuff.
Purely for it was a demo for Unreal 5 merged with the promotion of the new Matrix movie. I think they would have done the same thing if it was they did it for Spider-Man. There'd be a Spider-Man one. I don't think. I still wouldn't hold out on a Matrix game anytime soon.
I disagree. I think that if this film does well, like financially well, I reckon that is going to be just the boost it needs, because like we're going through the whole Renaissance as it is.
Yeah.
People will be like,
"Did you see he's never played Cyberpunk?"
What?
Keanu's never played Cyberpunk.
He's probably got better things to do.
No, you say apparently he's
like shooting guns and beating people up. if there was a Batman in this world and it turns out that it would be Keanu Reeves, I'd be like, yeah, it makes sense. Like he seems like the sort of bloke who'd do it.
Yeah.
But I'm really looking forward to the fourth one. I don't think it's necessarily going to be better than the first one, but I'm fairly confident it's going to be better than both of the other two.
100%, yeah. I mean, I think it potentially will be a better film than the first one in terms of just how far technology and
how
stuff is evolved.
It depends, though, because you can revisit. I mean, this is why, like, we've got the new Ghostbusters. That's out in like.
Ghostbusters is already out.
Is it?
Yeah, it's been out weeks, mate. Absolutely weeks.
Okay, well, I need to go to the cinema again for another reason. Okay, but this is the thing that, like, because we sort of had an attempt at Ghostbusters that didn't pan out particularly well. I would have thought that if that was going to slow things down, maybe, then that would kind of make sense. But then we get another one, 2 or 3 years later?
No, it's longer than that, isn't it?
Well, it's like 2017 or something. Ghostbusters, Answer the Call. Is that 2017?
2016.
Wow, fucking hell.
That's
long old
5
time.
years ago.
Well, maybe that's not. But then, if you think that the length in time between Ghostbusters 2 and then Ghostbusters Answer the Call is like 25 years.
I was actually having this conversation last week, maybe a little bit longer ago, about this, and he went to see Ghostbusters, and he was like, I really enjoyed it, and
Afterlife.
Yeah, and one of the main criticisms I saw from the reviews, like this from the spoiler reviews, was they'd taken the humor out of it, so it was a little bit more gritty and realistic, so to speak. And he goes, there's still a lot of funny bits in it, but it's not as funny as, say, the Ghostbusters 1 or Ghostbusters 2. And I said to him then, I was like, I didn't like the last Ghostbusters movie, as did anyone. But it's ironic that the one thing that this new one is supposedly getting slammed for is the thing that I'd say the last Ghostbusters is closer to the original ones, but
maybe it's a bit too much, though. It's just joke.
That's because comedy's changed, and
but if you look back, because I actually watched Ghostbusters 1 a couple of weeks ago, actually, and a lot of the humor it comes from the performances, not from jokes that people are reading from a page or just a funny slapstick thing.
It's more slapstick than anything else, isn't it?
I mean, not really. No, it's sort of like, you've got Egon who doesn't have a sense of humor, and he's the nerd, and he's just doing his science stuff, and everyone's like, "Oh, you bloody nerd!" And then you got Venkman, who's a weird sort of almost rapist, kind of sex pest kind of fella, but he's really funny and cool, and he takes himself far too seriously. Yeah. And then you've got Stance, who's sorry, I've just got those mixed up, I think. But he's the excitable child. Yeah, Venkman's Bill Murray, isn't it? Yeah. And then Dan Aykroyd is like, he's the sort of like, he's just super excited and he's like the child. Yeah. And then you've got Winston, who comes in and he's just sort of like, I don't know what any of this is, but I'll just do the job. I'm getting paid. That's fine by me. And then with the reboot, the Answer the Call reboot, all of them were the funny one. And like they all had a certain joke to tell, and a sort of like it just didn't, like, you needed the sort of like the difference in who the people were. For like,
I think that's how any dynamic
Egon's funny,
works.
not because he's telling jokes or making.
It's funny because of the situation requires it, and it's for some parts he's the butt of the joke. And
yeah, but you know, it's all in good fun rather than just you're a nerd.
Yeah, if everybody's Chandler, then Friends isn't that funny. Like,
you need a Ross.
Yeah, but that's
you need
why
the straight man. Yeah,
that's why it works. Joey's the stupid one, but he's charismatic. Ross is the smart one. Chandler's the sarcastic one, and then like each of the cast and the core elements of Friends, they bounce off each other, and to a lesser degree, me and you, like you're the angry one, I'm the idiot. But everything that requires more than one person, there has to be a dynamic there.
I think that's true with like there's certain YouTube channels and things like that, they do like group reviews and stuff like that, and a lot of the time that can be quite interesting too, especially if it's someone who's enjoyed or disliked a thing that you either like or don't like, and it's a discussion around that. But what I don't like is watching like a sit down like around a table, whatever, 3 or 4, 5, 6 people or whatever, who all have the same opinion. Yeah, because it's just like, okay, well, we could have all just said who likes this. Oh, everyone. Okay, well, we'll move on then.
Let's do a different word.
You need to argue the toss. You need to go, well, no, I disagree, actually. I think that isn't a good point, and this is why. And that's what kind of makes you think, rather than just having everyone on the exact same page.
And that's why I like doing, so spoiler cast, for example, when we do them with, if it's something that Zoe's watched as well. And for a lot of the time, we all have a similar opinion. We've got to see Spider-Man. We all enjoyed it. We went to see the Avengers. We all enjoyed it. But we all enjoyed different parts and maybe didn't like certain parts that maybe you did and maybe Zoe didn't and whatnot. And if we, like you say, if we kind of go, well, could spoiler cast. We just been to see Spider-Man. I loved it. Dan, what do you think? I loved it. So
I also loved it.
I loved it. Well, that's enough. Yeah. See you later. And
what did you think of Tom Holland? I thought he was brilliant. Yeah. What did you think of Zendaya? I thought she was brilliant. Yeah, me too.
It's not interesting, and I suppose to a lesser degree, it's more interesting to watch people argue than it is to watch people agree with each other. And I don't mean like getting into fist fights and leathering each other and stuff, but I mean that would also be interesting.
Like someone you can look at things objectively a bit more than just sort of, this is my favourite film and no one can ever say anything bad about it because it's perfect. It doesn't exist. There's no such thing as a perfect film.
Convince Cal.
Yeah, exactly that. There'll be certain things that you like about a thing that I'll show you, and there'll be certain things that you don't. Yeah. The point of it isn't to get into a row with you. It's to say maybe there's something that you haven't seen, or like there's an assumption that you've got about how this specific game is, maybe. But maybe through my eyes, maybe you'll see it a little bit differently. Yeah, but it's never, for the most part, that's been the case.
It's never something we sit there and go, "Wow, that was absolutely dog shit, Dan." It was awful. I think every single one we've done for Convince Cal has been, for the most part, it's still been like, it's not for me. But I liked this part of it, and I liked this idea, and I didn't know you could do that. And obviously you got your like Wastelanders and Stardew and stuff.
It's funny you mention Wastelanders, actually, because I know that after we did the Wastelanders Convince Cal, you were like, okay, well, there's a multiplayer side on this. I actually want to have a go on the multiplayer. I actually played the multiplayer for the first time with Rick. Like, we meant to do it like a year ago and never got round to it. Or no, his file had corrupted or something, so we ended up just doing something else, then forgetting about it. And he reinstalled it. And we played it over the weekend, and it is exactly as I expected it would be. Like, so outside of combat, when you're just sort of wandering around or whatever, we are two separate entities. And you get like a person, like an AI person, and I get an AI person, and you can make that person, or you can recruit that person or whatever. So you have your little team, and I have my little team, and then when we're in combat, we obviously communicate to like arrange things the right way, and then I take my turns and my AI character's turns, and you take your character's turns and your AI turns. So it just works really, really well. Because I wasn't sure if it would be like player 2 would have to just sort of sit there and wait for another combat situation before they could do a thing or whatever. Like, even in the conversations where you're talking to like an NPC or progressing through the story or whatever, I have the option to give control of the conversation to somebody else.
Ah, cool.
So if I had to go for a piss, or because I've already completed it, but if you wanted to play through the story your way, because like when I was playing with Rick, like he's got a very specific, this is my backstory, this is my character, this is how they act sort of thing, which I love. So if you were like, okay, well, if I was having that conversation, this is how my character would respond, and you'd be a dick, but like my character choices would not be, maybe not so dickish, maybe. Yeah. So I could give you control of that conversation. And that, to me, that just seemed to be, it's kind of as I wanted it to be, but then a little bit more as well.
Yeah.
Because like we share all of our stuff, and it's complementary. And honestly, I think that because I know that you were kind of interested in it, I think you would genuinely quite enjoy that, because you would be able to just mooch around on your own. If I end up in a conversation with an NPC, you can go off and do your own thing. Like, you can't progress the story or anything, but you can wander off and go to a merchant and sell some shit. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, that to me is... That's the progression that I want for a convinced Cal, is that, oh, okay, now that we could do this together, maybe that's the point where you'd be like, oh, can we play that again? That was actually quite fun.
Yeah.
So that's when we know we've gotten somewhere. Because if it's just a thing that, and I know we joke about it, but it would take me 3 minutes to find a game that you would absolutely hate.
Oh, yeah,
and you wouldn't have any redeeming factors in it whatsoever. But where's the fun in that?
No,
that's just me pissing into the wind for no reason.
Yeah, it's kind of just a waste. And certain ones, like, I can't remember the name of the Star Empire at War. On paper, that's an RTS that I would like, because it's Star Wars, but it was still...
Of all of the RTSs, that's probably the one that I think would be the way in. That's the gateway drug into Command and Conquer, so yeah.
And
Age of Empires, Game of the Year.
But it was... no, it wasn't Game of the Year.
Strategy Game of the Year,
Strategy of the Year.
That's it, yeah.
But even that, it was still...
Honestly, Age of Empires 4 was so good. I know you'd hate it, which is why I probably won't ever go to AME, but that is real good.
I've never been into any kind of a... I know you still don't class it as an RTS, but I still do. When we Googled it and it was. But Syndicate was... I loved that game. The original Bullfrog one, not the first-person shooter one. But I really liked that game. It was also the only game I had for my PC at the time, so I didn't have a choice. But I liked it because it was a cool Blade Runner-esque world, and you could get in a hover car and go and shoot some gangs up and solve some stuff. It was just a cool game, and I really liked it. I know it's the same as Commandos, where it's not a proper RTS in the same sense that Command and Conquer
is. An RTS, I don't think, because it's like a turn-based strategy game rather than because like your like Star Trek Away Team is the same thing. Like your well, actually, no, Away Team isn't really, but it's like I don't know. Maybe it would be.
I'm sure when we looked it up, it was classed as like an RTS, but more strategy than real time, something like that. I'm sure that's what Commandos was counted as.
Real time tactics.
That's was what it is. An RTT.
Yes, so it's
new from the video
planning and strategy and all that sort of stuff, rather than just StarCraft, where you just create 1,000 things and throw them at a thing. But there's other, just because, so like a first-person shooter is a fairly generic term, and everyone kind of knows what a first-person shooter is. But if you didn't like first-person shooters, so you're used to like Call of Duty, and you're like, I hate Call of Duty, first-person shooters are all bullshit. But then if I was to go, okay, well, how about Titanfall? That's a first-person shooter, but it's a very different type of first-person shooter. And you go, oh, actually, maybe that's... and then you throw in giant robots into that as well. That's kind of a cool concept, and I didn't think that maybe I'd enjoy this sort of stuff.
If we're trying to win people over Titanfall 2.
That's what I meant to say, sorry. But because
1 wasn't
It's
great.
I love it. I still play it.
Titanfall 2 is a really
so
good game. Really, really, really
I fucking
good.
love it, mate.
I wish that's what Titanfall 1 had been.
Well, hopefully Titanfall 3 will be all that story mode all over again.
Maybe.
With an even more robust... Because, I mean, they must be raking it in from Apex. They must be.
I mean, I think
You're telling me
Apex
that they
has
can't
been
supplement out a Titanfall 3 from all the Apex money? Come on. Come on.
I think it seems to be that's kind of the route I think that they're going to be going down with a lot of the stuff, is this free-to-play. Maybe not necessarily Battle Royale, but that kind of money-making machine, for lack of a better term. Look at, I mean, Fortnite started out as like a strategy game. Like, you had an allotted time to build a fort to keep the zombies out and whatnot, and it was really cool. And it was, I believe it was on kind of like alpha, but it was something on Xbox, so it was like an early access type thing. Sorry, but I can't remember how it worked, and it was really good. And then it came out and it wasn't super popular, and then they made this Battle Royale mode which came incredibly popular, and then that's what Fortnite is now. But that wasn't the original game for it, but it's probably, if not the most popular game in the world after Minecraft at the moment. I think Minecraft's still probably the most popular game in it.
Well, I don't know if you saw yesterday, but YouTube were having a little celebration thing of 1 trillion views of Minecraft videos.
Yeah.
Not of all videos, just Minecraft videos. That in itself deserved a shout out.
Just think, some of those are ours.
I mean, yeah, we contribute in the tiniest possible way, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've done our... Oh man, we need to do some more Minecraft.
Let's get back on it. Me and Logan have been playing a lot of Minecraft lately.
I know, it's just that it's such a pain in the dick with all the fucking mods and server setups. And
It's on Game Pass PC now, but it'll just be vanilla.
It's just vanilla bullshit though, mate. Anyone could do that.
That's where the real challenge is at, Dan.
No, I want to make like spaceships and stuff. That's the cool stuff, man.
We'll look into it, because it's a lot of fun, and it's just the music. Hey, I learned one of the cave things on piano for Minecraft, but it's a bit too much for Logan to learn. And then, do you know what? I started to learn to teach, because so I've taught Logan how to play the Office theme tune.
Yeah.
Jurassic Park. Sonic the Hedgehog, Green Hill Zone.
What they?
Oh no!
Okay,
Yeah, that one. Yeah. Sorry to do it in my head. Because we watched Sonic at the weekend. Wasn't as bad second time round.
Yeah.
Wasn't.
Do you know what? I saw that on the Netflix.
That's where we saw it. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, maybe I do want to go back and watch it. It's mainly because like the featured image is Jim Carrey just sort of absolutely going bananas, and I was like, he kind of was great in that.
Yeah,
and
it was
I
the
want to
best
see
bit of it.
Sonic 2 because I want to see how mental he's gone now.
It's
But
honestly,
yeah, I reckon it's going to be like up another level.
I didn't think much of it when I watched it the first time. Kind of like meh. It was not as bad as I thought it was going to be. And then I watched it on, I think it was Sunday last week. And I was like, you know what? I actually really enjoyed that, like, for what it was. But I think that was going in with such low expectations that, you know, I was pleasantly surprised. Although the bit still makes me laugh when he's like, I'm going to abuse my authority. And he's like, there's a jumper on the roof. I need the key to get to the top. And he holds his badge. And she's like, you came all the way from Green Hills for a jumper? And I can't remember how many miles it is to get there, but that was maybe laughing. But then when he gets in the lift and Sonic's in the duffel bag, and he's just like, how long are we going to be? It stinks in here. And like, have you got your kid in that bag? And he goes, no. I mean, yes, but it's not my kid. Like, that's a genuinely funny line.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we learned Sonic and some other stuff, and then today I started learning the theme tune to Star Trek: The Next Generation.
No way!
It's
that definitely doesn't have any piano in it, I'm sure.
I don't know,
It's
like a
all
lot of
orchestra.
a lot of the stuff that we've been learning isn't primarily a piano.
I mean, I assume that there's some sort of
It's still
notation
chords. It's still,
stuff.
yeah. It's still
But
used.
it's all trumpets and
Yeah.
tubers and
Sounds
stuff.
really nice, though. Sounds really nice.
I'd say that the annoyingly, Enterprise might have the easiest one to learn because that is just a song rather than like an orchestral piece.
Yeah. They might have to do that one because it's too much. Because
Did I tell you when I was at that Star Trek convention, that guy came on playing a guitar, singing that song?
yeah.
Love it. What a genius. People went absolutely bananas for that. He came on with like the Enterprise outfit and then started just playing this acoustic guitar and singing along. They went mental.
I don't know, why wouldn't
So
they do
good.
Voyager, though? Like, the only one with, like, actual lyrics.
Voyager doesn't have lyrics.
Does? The theme
it
tune
doesn't,
for
mate.
Star Trek Voyager is that thingy from the heart.
No, that's Enterprise. It's called Faith of the Heart by Russell Watson. Are you testing me? As if he's got to Google this. As
I'm
if
pretty sure
I
it's
wouldn't know
Voyager.
the
I'm
answer
pretty
to
sure
that.
it's Voyager.
It's not. Voyager is the theme tune. Remember the Space Architects intro you made and you put Star Trek music on the top of it?
See, I
That's
told
the
you.
Voyager theme
Russell
song.
Watson, Faith of the Heart, Enterprise theme.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
Mad, isn't it? Mad, isn't it?
Oh, why have I got Voyager in my head? No, Dan. I got Voyager in my head because the name for the Space Architects one was Voyeurs.
Voyeurs.
Yeah.
Right, okay, yeah.
That's what I've got into my head.
But that doesn't make any sense though, because the song that you put on the Voyeurs video is the Voyager theme tune. So I don't understand why that came out either.
Because it was funny.
No, which is fine. And it was like a synth.
Yeah, it's just a silly
version of it, or whatever.
tongue-in-cheek thing.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
That's what I'd got into my head. I thought I'd actually bested you on some Star Trek knowledge.
That's it. That was the last convention you went to, sucker.
No, I've never been to a Star Trek convention. Funnily enough.
Correct. I knew that as well.
I got invited to one. No,
Really?
I didn't, Dan. You went without me. This is why I didn't invite you for Christmas.
Oh, I didn't realise it was a one-upsmanship thing. It's fine. I'll not invite you to the next thing I go to. Then how about that?
That's not very nice. You went to see Spider-Man yesterday as well, but whatever.
What are you gonna do?
Go tomorrow. Like when I pre-booked.
Yeah.
I wanted to go yesterday, but I had to book time and stuff, and I was like, it's easier to go on Friday. So.
Well, I think I'm actually going to. See The Matrix on day of release, right after work.
Yeah.
But a couple of the boys going to The Matrix. Because I asked Rick, because me and Rick had already made plans to go and see it. I've also got plans to see it with someone else as well, but I don't think that's going to happen until the new year. And frankly, I can't wait that long to see The Matrix. And then Rick was like, "Oh, how about asking our other mate as well?" And I was like, "I don't know if that's his sort of thing." So I messaged him, and I was just like, "Oh, did you want to come and see The Matrix next week?" And he was like, "Yeah, definitely." And I was like, "Do you know what it's about?" like if I read it about now, it'd be properly condescending. But it's just sort of like, it wasn't like, "Oh, are you too daft to understand what this is all about?" It's more like, "This is the fourth one. Do you have any idea what this is about?" sort of thing. Or are you going to sit there and go,
I don't think they do.
But he sent me a picture, and he said, "Yeah, of course I've watched it. It's been a while." And then like 15 minutes later, he sent me a picture of Trinity in the phone box, like doing that. And I was just like, "You fucker!" Like, I'm at work, and he's just gone, "I'll just pop it on now. Just catch back up on it." But I reckon I go for the Matrix trilogy at least once or twice a year, easily.
I think we watched it probably about 2 months ago. We caught up.
Well, that's because you were making Zoe watch it, though.
Yeah,
not because you were
I didn't
doing
make
it for
her.
your own
She wanted to. I know, definitely not, because I hate the second and third one. But I will say, same with Sonic, this time around, not as bad as I remember. First one's still amazing.
Yeah, it really is. But there's still certain parts of 2. Maybe not so much 3, but there's still certain parts of 2, and I'm just sort of like, oh, that on its own, that's really good. Like, that's a really good idea. Oh, that's a really cool thing. Oh, Zion, that's a cool, awful looking city, but, you know, if you've had to drill down into the center of the earth to live there, it's probably gonna look like that. To be fair, so you've done a good job, guys. Well done. But then with the the gigantic smith, billions of smiths, and it's just sort of like, oh, I get it. It's just like a big anime fight, isn't it? But
the thing is, though, that fight scene looked bad when it came out. It's not like some of the stuff. Like, I mean, you can watch like Jurassic Park. Looks phenomenal still now. Jurassic Park 1, because they're very smart with how they film things. And I think Corridor Crew did a whole thing on this particular thing. But like the Matrix looked. Everything was so rubbery. It's in the middle of the fucking day, so you can't really hide anything. And as they continually point out, I think they point out on Corridor Crew and on Mr. Sunday Movies, they didn't replicate. They just like superimpose Agent Smith and stuff. Some of them are different people, but you can see them, and you can. Well, that's not Agent Smith because it's not all the same person. As it's implied
most of them they're all wearing Hugo Weaving masks. Yeah. Some of them aren't like stuntmen and stuff. They'll just be flipping around or whatever, and you can tell that it's not. But that also happens for like 3 seconds, so no one's ever going to know.
I didn't notice it, but it doesn't look realistic. Same as Blade 2. There's the scene in the nightclub, which is so noticeable. Spider-Man 1 as well with Tobey Maguire when he jumps over the building and it does the top-down view. And he's all fucking rubbery and fucking. It just looks awful. And it like I say, it looked bad then it looks worse.
You've got to do that. Some films have got to make that sacrifice so that the films afterwards will look better as a consequence because they've done that.
There's parts to it where, so for example, for the Spider-Man shot, if they'd have shot it underneath, so you saw it, so he's jumping across, and then the camera spins, and you see him go across. It wouldn't look as rubbery because you'd only see his legs and as him going up, and then have the camera flip. So then it's seen as a front on as he lands, and that would be Tobey Maguire. And it's just being smart. I'm a fucking idiot, and there's certain things in filming where you go, well, it doesn't make. Why would you do that? It looks fucking awful when you could just do this. The Matrix thing, there's not a lot you can do. Other than I would have probably done it at night, so you can hide things a little bit more. But I just get.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's just one of those. It's just sort of like we want to have him fighting 50 Agent Smiths, and like, oh Christ, that's a challenge. But I reckon if they'd have said, so like because I loved the plot carrying over from 2 to 3 of Smith taking over one of those resistance members and then taking over his body.
Yeah,
like. That is a terrifying thought that, these awful malicious agents could just come through into the real world just because, and they obviously have no idea that happens. Yeah. Only Neo and Trinity find that out. But if that whole last thing was like, spoilers, like it's the ship flying to the city to, and Neo's got now these powers that can like cross over into the real world and he can blow up all the Sentinels and stuff like that coming for him. And then his final fight with Smith wasn't in the Matrix, and it wasn't this huge mental fight, for like 25 minutes in the rain. It's that sort of like visceral, like neither of them are powered in that normal sense. They're just sort of brawling, and it's them just scrapping over each other. If that was the last fight, maybe some people would have been a bit disappointed by that, given what Neo can do, or whatever, but. Like if it's pushing more towards like his powers are starting to manifest outside of the Matrix, and then he could like, do that thing where he like rips Smith out or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, so if they hadn't spent all the time and the effort like making that huge massive fight, which again it looks fine and it's it's still quite a technological achievement. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, for the time.
But if instead of putting the money and the effort from that and then put that into like the brawl in like the town square when there's like all these other Agent Smiths running in, that would have looked amazing. And then all of the all the money that they would have spent on that last fight at the end is like it's just a thing on a set and they have it just get more and more brutal and visceral.
Yeah.
And then they finally get to the Machine City and then they he negotiates for peace or whatever. But that was also 20 years ago.
It was like the first one works because it's more about building, and you do get your moments like in the train station, the fight scene in that, and this that, and the other. But for the most part, it's all tension and building up to you are the one. You can do amazing things. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah, these agents, you don't want to mess with them.
Yeah,
like.
And then the second one comes.
You see an agent, you run away.
Yeah, it's drilled into you. If you see an agent, run. Don't fight. Don't engage. Don't do anything. Just get out of there as fast as you can. And then the second one, like agents, Morpheus is like, don't worry, I'll fucking deal with this. Why didn't you deal with it in the fucking first one?
Well, no, I'll explain that to you. I'm going to mansplain this to you right now. So,
lazy writing.
At the start of that, one of my favourite bits of 2 is when they're having the meet. It is right at the start. They're having the meeting, and then Neo senses that the agents are coming, and then the 3 of them like bust in, and he's like, right, everyone get the fuck out. I've got this. And he tears through them like they are nothing. Like these things that have been like trashing cars and like taking over people and just shooting everybody. And like, they're these like Morpheus was in the bathroom and he got the shit kicked out of him by this guy. And then Neo just swats them away like they're absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
I would have liked that fight to go on for way longer than it did. But the point is that he can just, and you're down.
Yeah.
And like seeing that and what he's capable of, that gives everyone else the confidence to be like, okay, they're not these like absolutely indestructible things. Like Trinity shot one in the first one. All you got to do is just get in the right place and just pop him in the face.
That was like she managed to get behind him and just be like, dodge this or whatever she did, and then bang. But that was
Couldn't have said anything.
That was point
cool
blank.
line, but
yeah.
Why would you say that? By the time you go dodge, he's already come back and grabbed you. I
just
wouldn't
take
risk
the chance
it.
where you can, but it's not a
for sure.
It's not a moment where you go, oh, I'm petrified of crossing the road. And you go, it's just take your time. You can cross it. You can get to the other side. It's not a case of believing in yourself. It's a case of you can't beat the agent. The reason Neo can do it is because he's the one. If you can do it without being the one, you don't need it.
But that's the thing. No one is, other than like Trinity shooting that guy in the face.
It's a syndrome. If everybody's super, nobody is.
Nobody is. Yeah. But everyone else has still had their fucking arse handed to them by an agent.
Yeah, but that's what Morpheus got pretty much battered to near enough death in the first one, and then the second one, he's going fucking toe to toe with the ghost twin. I forgot what they're called.
No, the ghosts, I think they're.
I'm sure it's something like that. He's going toe to toe with fucking them. He's flipping over fucking cars and fighting agents on trucks and just doing everything that Neo was doing in the other one.
He's still
to a lesser degree, obviously.
But then they just went, okay, well, he seems to be doing all right with the fighting stuff. Let's just end this right now. Take over the cab driver, smash, bang.
Yeah.
What can he do? And that's when, they go, oh, okay, well, trying to get him head on, that's not going to... It's more efficient to just crash the truck than it is to actually fight him.
But the thing is, you see Neo doing all this stuff where he's fighting. He fought all those bazillion agents in the playground thing. He's doing all this stuff. He's Supermaning all over the shop. But when they're in the building, when the bloke comes, with the French guy, and he's just like, kill him, and then he stops all the bullets. Why don't you just fucking throw him back and just end the fight right there? Well, we've got to have a 15-minute fight scene when you didn't need to.
That fight is fucking sweet. That's why.
But it's a great scene. But he breaks a sweat, and there's actually something that's pointed out. I think it is in Mr. Sunday Movies when they cuts his hand, and there's like the tiniest bit of blood, and he's like, "See, he's just a man." It's like, no, he's still stopped like a fucking 7-inch blade, and you got a tiniest bit of blood. Whereas anyone else, his hand would have sliced up.
It's the Thanos thing, though, isn't it? It's like you went through all of that effort, and that's as much as you could do to me.
Yeah,
like that is a way more intimidating thing than
a good example.
Just catching a bunch of bullets, then zipping them back at someone.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been like if had this been like we've got to get this fight, and then we've got to go and do a thing. Like there wasn't really any urgency for him to get out of there, and for some of it, kind of felt like he was just taking the piss a little bit. Which makes sense given...
I mean, to be fair, mate, if I could do that, I'm not going to throw bullets back at people. I'm going to kick the living shit out of them. That's what I'm going to do.
You just get to
I
be like,
enjoy it.
You just be like, oh, again. Fly
If
away.
I was going for a piss, I'd just be like, I'm not going to fight you. Bullets back at you, right?
With your hand or your... Either. Whichever way you face it.
Sure, I guess.
But, no, one of my biggest problems with the Matrix movies, I love the Matrix, Matrix 1 and the Animatrix, and Ghost in the Shell, which they completely ripped off. But the the second and third one, I feel like the Wachowskis got the pretentious disease, where because there was so much positive things about the first film, they were like kind of like untouchable. You know, do you know what I mean? It's hard to describe what I'm saying,
it's
but
the same as like if you look at like Lord of the Rings. So
yeah,
like they make a first one that's it's very poignant and it's very well put together, and you can see this universe, and they build the universe, and they go, oh brilliant, here's a blank check, and they go, okay, all the cool shit that we couldn't afford to do in the last one, so we had to get around it with creative writing and story writing, and just sort of coming up with things that we can. They had to like invent things. They didn't have like a cool 3D camera that could do all that stuff. They had to buy 100 cameras and just take pictures with them because they had to just outthink the problem.
Yeah.
Instead, when you get a blank check, you go, oh, it's fine. We'll just CGI the whole thing, and we'll just a million billion robots. Yeah, sure, we can do that now as well. A thousand.
It was really out of place in the second Lord of the Rings.
I would have enjoyed it a lot more if the battle at Helm's Deep and the Sentinels just came over the mountain, and then the bust up those robots in the thing like. That would have been great. I mean, they've got the licenses for both, right? Warner Brothers. They've got the Matrix and they've got the Lord of the Rings. I'd say we get to the point where all of cinema has run out of ideas. Have a Lord of the Rings Matrix crossover. That's what
they did with Space Jam, wasn't it? They just got everyone they could.
Yeah, just say that Lord of the Rings is just a previous version of the Matrix.
This is what Neo used to be. Smog or whatever it is.
He was Aragorn, sure.
But that's the biggest problem with for me for Deadpool 2, where Deadpool 1 was they had a tiny, minuscule budget, and they had like 3 locations that they could film on, and they reused the same things throughout. So it relied on, again, creative writing, smart, funny jokes, and then a little bit of action, a little bit of gore to differentiate it from other superhero films of the time. And then the second one, they just went, we've got like unlimited money now, let's just remake the first one again with a budget that we didn't have. And it's near enough. Even like one of the jokes is the same joke, where actually in the first one he has his he's got to grow his legs back, and they just reuse the same joke in this one again. And it's probably one of the biggest disappointments of that's wrong. I was going to say one of my biggest comic book disappointments, but there's a lot more. There's a lot more.
I haven't even touched on the Fantastic Four yet, but sure.
That's what I mean. It was a poor choice of words.
After, not Venom 2. No.
Oh, fucking awful. Absolutely awful. But do you know what I mean? Like Deadpool 2 could have been a genuinely fantastic sequel, but it was just the first film again with a bigger budget.
I really like Venom. I do not like Venom 2. Let's be clear on that. I do not like Venom 2. I did like Deadpool 2.
Got Venom t-shirt. No, I thought
it was great.
I like Deadpool 2.
It's saying, it's about his missus, and it's just another bad guy and whatever. But ultimately, that's what they all are. It's just, it's a tropey thing, but it's taking the piss out of its own tropes at the same time.
I say it's not a bad. I didn't dislike the movie. I liked it. The first one's way better. The first one's miles better than the second one. The best bit of the second one was X-Force. Again, just an incredibly funny joke, and it was such a good build-up, like perfectly executed. Absolutely fucking loved it. I just thought a lot of it was lazy, and they've just gone money instead of being clever, which is disappointing when you got somebody like Ryan Reynolds who clearly had a lot of labor and love for the first one. I don't know. It felt a little bit half-assed for some of it. That's just me. I still enjoyed it. which is the exact opposite of Venom and Venom 2, which I think are both as shite as each other.
No, that I very much disagree with. Venom 1 is alright. It's not fine. It's not terrible.
Out of 10.
Venom 2 is terrible.
Venom 1's like a 5.5 to a 6, dependent on how generous I'm being. And Venom 2 is probably a 4, maybe a 4.5 for the fact that they got Carnage's colour right.
No, I'd like, there are times where I'll just go, yeah, I'll watch Venom again. You know, it's an alright kind of thing. But
twice was enough.
I don't think you could pay me enough to go and watch Venom 2 again. I've got absolutely no drive or inkling to go and see that again.
I watched Venom 1 and I absolutely hated it. And then everyone was saying how good it was. And I was like, wait, what? So I watched it again to make sure I just, it was just, maybe I was just the mood I was in, or I was tired or something. I watched it and it's as bad as I remember it being. Watched Venom 2, like, yeah, the first one's a lot better. So maybe that's the thing. Maybe these people had already seen Venom 2 before. I've said it on
traveling critics.
I've said it before on one of the last podcasts. If you want to watch a good Venom film, watch Upgrade.
Yeah, yeah, Upgrade's incredible.
Yeah, that's a good Venom film.
I could watch that film every week for a year and still not get bored of it.
It's such an underrated movie. Absolutely
love it.
Great film. Although I don't like the ending. Do not like the ending.
No, I disagree. I think that sets it up for a sequel perfectly.
Which obviously it's never had, and I assume never will.
It took, for 20 odd years for a third Ghostbusters film. So
look what happened with that.
No, Afterlife, I mean.
Oh,
Ghostbusters Answer the Call isn't a sequel, you dingus.
That was a reboot, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I still think that was the biggest problem. Should have just been these guys getting these are taking over. I think it would have been much better received.
Well, I'm pretty sure we said the same thing at the time.
Yeah, probably.
But I wholeheartedly agree.
Because it has got funny bits in it.
In a reboot.
Got some funny bits in it. This is your reboot.
I don't know. I don't remember sort of like any standout kind of joke.
Off the top of my head, I can't think of anything. However, I will definitely go out on record and say there's far worse films.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not as bad as everybody says. Same as Venom 2. There's way worse films than Venom 2. Unfortunately, they're not much worse.
I couldn't name you one that I've seen recently where I was just like, that was atrocious.
Oh, recently? No, that's probably the worst film I've watched in a long time. And I genuinely cannot fathom why people fucking love it. It's done exceptionally well. But he's not good in it. Tom Hardy's a great actor, and he's not good in either of the Venom films.
It's that direction thing, isn't it? It's like a Jesse Eisenberg. Just be like a weird neurotic maniac. And people love that, won't they?
Maybe if he was I think Jesse Eisenberg would have been a good Riddler in that universe. Yeah. But not Lex Luthor.
Doesn't matter because
cold, cool-hearted fucking Lex Luthor.
When the Batman comes out, everything's just gonna pale.
Yeah.
That's gonna be the pinnacle, I reckon.
I'm really, really, really looking forward to that. It's getting closer, Dan. It's getting much closer. But much like the end of this podcast.
Yeah, because bloody hell, we've been battering on, mate.
We have got probably 3 minutes before somebody has a little barky bark. Can't really see him.
Using it wisely, then I see. Clearly.
Yeah, no, he's fast asleep. I was going to move the camera to show you, but I don't think he'd care. Anyway, we've rambled on far enough. It's 1 hour 34 minutes, maybe less, depending on what we cut out. If you want to see more, head over to www.podcastversusplayer.com, where you will see, Dan, there's a brand new homepage that's up there, and it's got some new menu stuff, some little
I'm going to look at it right now and give you a review.
Things.
Oh my god, I've already seen this.
Yeah, it's not like new today.
Oh, no, wait, no, I haven't.
It's all news.
Wait, don't hang up.
Why would I
I mean,
hang
have a
up?
look at that store card. Some great merch on here from what I can see. Oh my word!
Yeah. Maybe there's some actual Cartoon Network certified Amazing World of Gumball
all
stuff.
right.
Hey, speaking of stores, Dan.
Sorry, I'd forgotten about that Magnum PI t-shirt.
Yeah.
It's a really good
That's
one.
probably one of my favourite T-shirts.
Yeah, it's a good one.
This week, for some reason, somebody bought one of our Gears of Law mugs.
Woohoo!
Yeah. And
Remember that about 4 years ago when we sat down and just came up with as many sort of like weird play on game names as we can do.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to give you. This is going to be the last segment of the podcast. I need you to come up with another one right now. Off you go.
What, like Gears of Law?
Yeah.
Master Chef Collection.
Terrible.
Oh, I had other stuff. We sold a Gears of Law mug. Outrageously priced at £11.
But worth every penny.
Oh yeah, 100%.
That mug won't burn you.
Somebody in the United States bought a T-shirt of PvP plays don't starve together. Another one.
Really? I kind of don't want them to be fair.
Somebody in Australia.
My t-shirt.
Somebody in Australia bought PvP plays don't starve together T-shirt.
Do they not realise what's on this?
I know. It's fucking bonkers.
Do they just think it's like a Don't Starve t-shirt and then they realise that, hold on, this is two people that aren't in the game?
I think it's because the artwork is so good, it looks like it's official.
I mean, I still wear mine a lot, although the image on it is fading. So I've had that for 6 years?
I will say, no, you've had it longer than that. The original batch for the Don't Starve t-shirts was a different supplier, so the quality may not be as good as the quality now that is available on the PvP store at www.podcastversusplayer.com/store. There's loads of designs, some not PvP related. They're just cool, funky, awesome designs, Dan. We got.
I've just come up with a t-shirt design. It takes flu. There you go.
Game of the year and pun of the year.
Taking the game of the year and COVID, mushed together, and it's people running away from a giant COVID bacteria or something.
I can't remember what the box art for It Takes Two. I think it's people jumping away, isn't it?
Something like that. There you go. There, bang. See? Swish. Nothing but there.
Yeah, but Gears of War, a very well-known established franchise.
It's just one game of the year. I'd say that's pretty good.
Yeah, but that's because people like us know what it is.
What about Resident Weevil? And it's like a weevil, like a little beetle. No, not the Pokemon, just the beetle. That's a actual weevil. But
what about Pokemon Port Sword?
He's a doctor. Shut up! I'm telling my ideas.
It's an awful idea.
It's a Resident Weevil. Or he's like in a pipe in a tweed suit because he's like a resident of like an old folks home.
Because that's what they wear.
Yeah. In the home I'm going to retire in, they definitely will.
Or in like Midsummer Murders or something.
Oh, I'd definitely live in Midsummer Murders because you'd be old enough to retire, but you wouldn't get frighteningly old because someone would knock you off at some point. Yeah, you'd
be dead. It may know us.
Yeah.
No, we'll think of some more because they were some fun ones. There was a lot that got taken down, such as Twig, the Groot and Big crossover that I spent an incredible amount of time designing, and Disney fucked us over with it. However, they did leave up the Spider-Man stuff.
That's because they didn't own it at that point, so they didn't give a shit. Didn't give a shit.
No, they did. They owned Marvel at that point. That's why we lost Groot.
What?
Yeah, that's why Twig was taken down for that.
But they don't own Spider-Man.
Disney owned Spiders. Disney owned Marvel.
Yeah, well,
Sony only own.
Sony only owned it.
Sony only own the movie stuff.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So did you do?
It was like comic style. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah, but yeah. So there was quite a few that we lost out. There was genuinely very good ones. Grim Fan Banjo.
Well, that's when we were doing
the crossover
game
stuff.
crossovers, wasn't it?
Yeah, but that's where Gears of War started.
Well, no,
That was all the same thing. Because the very first one was like the Zelda one, like Hyrule Your Heart or something like that, and that's where it started. Gears of War, Twig, Grim Fan Banjo, Left 4 Dead,
Deus Ex Machina.
No, we didn't do that one.
What was the Deus Ex one, wasn't it? Wasn't it Deus Ex Machina?
Deus Rex.
Yeah, that was
the dinosaur with the augmented arms.
Yeah.
But Left 4 Dead is probably one of the most, personally, one of my favourite ones. Not just for the store, but for anything that I've designed. And I think it's sold like 6 times.
Fine, you're welcome. This is what I'm capable of.
You are. Zoe's here.
I feed the machine, baby. Feed that machine.
Well, feed my wallet and buy some t-shirts.
No, I'm sorry, but as a partner in this company, I demand free merchandise.
I'm just the ideas man.
I just want all the shit. That's all I want.
I had a commission thing for. Bear in mind, I haven't forgotten about our friend Joe.
Ending the podcast.
Yeah, that as well. But I had a proposition from a company to do an animation for them, and I was like, why?
Ooh.
And I was informed because they was told I was an animator. I went, who the fuck told you that? Because I'm not. I said I could, like, I've shown an example of what I can do.
You've dabbled. Like, I know you've animated.
Yeah, but I wouldn't go, like, I never class myself as it, but I would, if someone said, are you an artist? I'd say, yeah, because I can draw. If somebody said, are you an animator? I'd go, not really, because I'm not. I showed them, like, I sent them a thing, said, like, this is what I can do if you'd be interested in this, and they said, yeah. Will you sit down? I'm trying to tell a story. And I was like, how long is it? And they're like, 15 minutes. Like, 15 minutes?
It's going to take you about 6 months.
Honestly, I was like, that's going to have to be, because it's basically I'm just reading a PDF for like an introductory guide thing. I was like, that needs to be like 4 or 5 minutes max. Like, but just in general, first few minutes or something, if you haven't got someone's attention, they're going to stop. That's just...
I'm going to plow through it for 15 minutes unless they have to.
Yeah. And it's going to take me 7 years to render it, never mind anything else.
That's madness. 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Get one on Fiverr for about 25 quid. They'll put it together for you, I'm sure.
Yeah. What I might do is charge them. I'll go, that's £75 an hour, and then just pay somebody on Fiverr to do it.
40 quid an hour. Buy me t-shirts with a profit.
A Fiverr.
That's not how it works. It's not like a pound store.
No, have you seen them videos where they've gone, like, they've paid someone, like, someone is like, oh, we'll do this for a tenner, and then someone will go, I'll do it for 100 quid, and then someone will, I'll do it for £1,000, and they basically go, pay you, and then for the most of the time, the one in the middle is generally as good as the most expensive one. Some of them are really interesting. Some of them obviously are very massively overpriced for their thing. Well, I mean, much like me for this, and I said, like, I was like, if you're happy to do it, I'll do it by. I was talking to the person who recommended me. I was like, I don't feel confident enough to charge someone for it, which is why HKZ Foxy's animated intro will do for free, because it's basically practice. So if it's shit, she can't shout at me. She hasn't paid for it.
No, she'll shout at me though.
Yeah, it'll still be good, obviously, but. Drawing, no issues whatsoever. I'll sit and do it during a podcast. But animation's a lot harder than people think it is. To people that don't know how to animate anyway, it's a lot harder than it's perceived to be. Anyway, just rambled on for like nearly 2 hours, Dan. So we're going to get going. There's a new Retro Shenanigans that will go up probably tomorrow if I get a chance to upload it.
Interesting.
But I'm going to see Spider-Man tomorrow. So, whoop, whoop, whoop.
Yeah, I'm very excited for you.
I am. I'm very excited to come back and give you a text.
Indeed. I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts and views and such.
I'm not going to go into details because I want to schedule a spoiler cast for the three of us to do to round off the end of this year, and I'll get Zoe to actually put a quiz together because we didn't do one last year.
No, why didn't we? She failed us probably, didn't she?
There was a specific reason, and then when we was going to do
us.
it was just like, well, there's no point now because it's like February.
I think she just couldn't be asked.
No, she had started it because I put a thing together for her, where basically just went question 1 and then left a thing blank so she could just type in the stuff and then feed it through to my computer so we could see it on the share screen thing for when we did it. And she definitely started. I think she was ill.
Right. For 2 months, yeah.
Nah, I don't know. Bye.
Tase them.
Can I test
Callum, you are a police officer. You cannot do that. No, Callum, put the gun away, for God's sake.
Can I lean out the car and shoot?
No. No, Callum.
What if I
It will just
suspect
end
them,
it
though?
for you. You cannot do it.
What if I suspect
Callum!
someone doing something?
Fucking listen to me.
Our car is on fire, Dan. Dan, he's
Oh,
fleeing.
they're fleeing, Callum.
He's fleeing.
Get the taser out. Callum, get the taser. Get the taser. Get the taser.
What
Now's
number's
the time.
taser?
Breathe a pistol. Number 2, and then point it right at him. No, I said don't shoot him unless he refuses to stop.
He did refuse.
You can have a look at this
That
car
man
here.
just littered.
A
Him.
triangle
Him.
overhead.
Him.
There.
Get the fuck here. I'll tase him, Dan.
Oh, he's fleeing.
He's
Callum,
fleeing.
pull that taser on him. Make him stop. Please freeze.
Freeze.
Oh, he
Shoot
froze.
ya.
He froze. That's it.
Show me your ID, you fucking scum.
Oh, she's fleeing.
She's fleeing,
Freeze.
Dad. Get her.
Freeze. I tased her. I'm not having any of
I
that.
tased her.